All right, Shalom. This is Hara 1 by Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, by Hashem Havashai, by Hashem Harakak Kodash, Ma'amath. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, Nakwatim, and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. This is going to be a response to, I think it was one of the members of the camp ITR, Israelites tried and refined. Some call them Israelites tried and denied, whatever. I remember in the past they were going into this saying that Babylon is the Roman Empire, and you can easily, disprove that with Revelations chapter 18, right? Many other scriptures, but that's where the Roman Empire being surrounded by land and having to get things imported, brought in, because they don't have any real shores around it. All right, things like one river, a big river that runs to the Roman Empire, but it's not surrounded by water on every side, like the scriptures say the daughter of Babylon would be. All right, so, but anyway, I want to get into a couple scriptures, see where the Spirit take me with that in mind. All right, Revelations 17:1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore, which sitteth upon many waters. All right, so we know that's talking about America, that's ruling over the world as a nation through what? The dollar, through their backing, by the Roman Empire and the beast, that all agreed to give their power and to support America, right? Now, all right, I'm just reading. I skipped down to 11, Revelation 17 and 11 in a minute. To get more understanding on this verse right here. All right, let's go to verse 2. Because America was established by the European Union. All right, the Roman Empire. That's really who it was established by, what you call NATO. And them NATO countries helped to finance America. All right, especially after World War II. So now, verse 2, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunken with the wine of a fornication. All right, so what it says, these are the three spirits that leaped out of the mouth of the frog, out of the Roman Empire, and through that, let me get that real quick. All right, this proves the establishment of America and the connection between the Roman Empire and the little horn. All right, America is that little horn, the daughter of Babylon. All right, ancient Babylon. So, the daughter of confusion. And mind you, John the Revelator got this vision on the Isle of Patmos. All right, if I'm not mistaken, that's in the Roman Empire. So he was speaking about a future Babylon. All right. I think John was around to about, I think he wrote this around 75 AD, if I'm not mistaken. All right, on the Isle of Patmos, he was one of the last prophets that were alive. And the Lord showed him this vision. Revelation 16 and 13, so it couldn't have been that Roman Empire. He was talking about a future place And we're going to Daniel chapter 7. It speaks about, I'm going to get that too real quick. Try to make this fast. But it speaks about the fourth beast being like iron. And then out of it came what? A little horn. So those are two separate kingdoms, man. All right, that are symbolic of each other. They call America the revised Roman Empire. All right, verse 13, Revelation 16:13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon. And the dragon represents the European Union, what you call the Roman Empire. All right. So those spirits that it's talking about was his fornication. In this sense, of course, we know the word fornication comes from the word porneo, which means to fornicate, spiritual adultery or physical adultery. But also with a nation like America, a place of business, they make what? Marriages, dealing with business. All right. It's what it says, and out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet, man. So out of NATO and the false prophet, the Roman Catholic Church. All right, so this is talking about the Roman Catholic Church right here in Rome. All right, and where did NATO come from? The EU. Okay, those same nations, Edomite nations, man. So this and what is that? The military, the religion here. The Roman Catholic Church runs all the churches in America. They're established under that order. If not, they're ran by the fake Jews over there in our land, the Jesuits. Then you have the banking, Wall Street. All right, the banking system, which was established through England with the World Bank here in America, and also the International Monetary Fund, or the Bank of England, establishing the Federal Reserve here in America, in D.C. Building a central bank, a centralized system where they can control and hyperinflate and create money out of thin air, paper currency, which would be fiat currency, funny money. And through that, they've deceived the whole world and robbed the whole world of all its resources. All right, and got all these nations rich, and they thought they were rich, but they were really taking on a cancer that would eat away at their reserves as long as they keep the dollar there. You know, in 1971, all the nations were forced to, 1973 really, going in 74, after the Nixon shot, the removal of gold from the dollar, they forced all the nations to move into the OPEC deal, right? So all nations were forced to deal with the dollar if they wanted to buy oil. You see that? So hey, man, through America was the whore that got pimped. You see that? So all the nations could commit the fornication with the whore. But the pimp would be the Roman Empire, the EU, you know, all the establishment over there in Europe. It was elite bankers. So for somebody to say that America would be, these guys over there, RTR, are teaching that the Roman Empire is Babylon, doesn't make sense, man. When you know, people can say what they want, but then when you walk down the road yourself or up the road, you begin to see the scenery for yourself. And if you walk through the scriptures, you're going to see that Babylon is America clearly, through the finance, especially through the 3 spirits that leaped out of the mouth of the frog, the dragon. The dragon is Europe, man, what you would call EU or the Roman Empire. All right, so I'm gonna read this real quick, man. It's funny because I just did a lesson on this, Revelation 13, about a week ago, in the whole chapter. Now, Revelation 13:1, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea. All right, it's talking about NATO being established, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and out of the sea, what it was established through all these certain Edomites coming together and creating this system, this entity, man. There's something opposite of itself, other than the Roman Empire. All right, it became a beast. And then you had the establishment of two of those, which would be, one would be more in the sense of a beast, and the other one would be more of a sense of a lamb, imitating a lamb. And that's talking about America. All right, Babylon. So this shows that it gets its power and authority through those spirits that leaped out of the mouth like a frog from the dragon, the Roman Empire. All right. And this is how, right here. And it says, having 7 heads and 10 horns, basically the same nations from the EU, the dragon. They formed this military entity called NATO. All right. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. So it was just like the Greek Empire. And his feet were as the feet of a bear. All right. So the end of it is going to represent Russia going to war with it. All right. And his mouth as the mouth of a lion, talking about Great Britain, which basically was the spokesman for NATO. And then you had President Eisenhower, that was set up in the 1950s as the mouth speaking great things for NATO. All right. And it says this, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So that would have to be the Roman Empire that did that. That's where all this comes from, because if you read Daniel chapter 7, it breaks that down. All right, let's skip down real quick, get to this point. Just showing the power and authority that was given from the dragon. Just showing the separation between the Roman Empire and America. Because this would have to be the dragon, the EU or the Roman Empire that established NATO. Then beyond NATO, they established the little horn, America, our daughter Babylon. Or they empowered it. All right, so now, here you go. Revelation 13:11. And it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, right? Another kingdom, another entity separate from the first beast. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, right? Democrats and Republicans, and what you would call politicians. That's what the Lord said. These damn oppressors, Esau, will try to cause you to fall by their strong ones, but they come humbling themselves. Those are politicians. All right. And he causes, and he exercises. So and he spake as a dragon, pushing the agenda of the Roman Empire, of EU. Push no draconian measures as we see today. Everything that happens over there in Europe happens over here. Those elite bankers running things here, and they run it from Europe. All right, so it shows that they're pushing that spirit through something that's manipulated, which would be like, in a sense, of a whore. That it can be controlled, and idolatry can be, they can tell their vision through the media here in America, through the entertainment, through the politicians, through the corporations here. All right, and then through the dollar. And he exercised of all the power of the first beast, man, before him. All right. So he exercised of all the power. So America used all the resources of NATO and the EU. Look at September 11th. Who they go to? They set it up so they can use NATO and declare everybody in America terrorists. All right, get finances from the EU. So America exercised of all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed, man. All right. So the first beast will represent the Roman Empire. Okay, in this sense. It says whose deadly wound was healed. All right, because this right here is talking about the Roman Empire setting up America. All right, whose deadly wound was healed, and how the Roman Empire was reestablished after 1266 AD. All right, and it fell in 410 AD, or really around the 2nd century. All right, with during the times of Nerva and after Domitian. Then when they started losing it, they lost their power, and Jake started taking over, and the kingdom started moving over to the eastern version of the empire, which would be with Constantinople over there near Turkey, Istanbul, right, called the Byzantine Empire, which was Jake's rule, all right, for 1,000 years. If you go from the 2nd century all the way up to 1266 AD, that's almost approximately 1,000 years right there. And then what? You had the Ottoman Turks that came and took it, and started taking those places back and reestablishing the western side of the Roman Empire. That's when you get the Borgias, and then later you get the Renaissance period, the rebirth in 1400s. Then you go into 1488, where they started racism with Pope Innocent VIII. All right, so on and so on, man. Columbus, 1492, he so-called sailed the ocean blue, right? And King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella started sending what you call that, man? You know, ships over here and troops over here to find gold and silver, all right, and resources. I forgot the guy's name, man. His name is something the Explorer. And but anyway, let's get to this point, because it clearly shows you that the Roman Empire was going to be established before the little horn. That's the focus, man. The little horn is the whore. It is the daughter of Babylon. It is the mystery Babylon. All right. So I'm gonna see them get around this one. So that's my question to them is, who's the little horn? If the Roman Empire is Babylon, what nation would be the little horn? Because that's where the chip is going to be really, really promoted at. All right. The market of the MOTB. This is where we're going to be enslaved at. And the bulk of the deliverance is going to be in this place. And the scriptures speak about the same daughter of Babylon being burned from one side of the land to the other. You know? 2nd Ezra 11:37. And I beheld, and lo, as it were, a roaring lion chased out of the wood. And I saw he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle and said, he's talking about Yahushua when he was here in the Roman Empire. All right, when he was in the Roman Empire on this earth, teaching. All right, and he was taken up on the right hand of the Father. It says, "Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee." See, so the Most High was speaking through Yahushua unto the Roman Empire. All right. So this goes with Revelation 16. Art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, man? See, the Roman Empire is that fourth beast spoken of in Daniel 7. Let me get that too. Whom I made to reign in my world. So the Lord created that place to rule. So they truly have no power. It's really from the Most High. You can read Wisdom of Solomon chapter 6 to get that understanding. Whom I made to reign in my world, right? Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. And it can be taken from them just as easy as it was given. It says that the end of their times might come through thee. What's that? 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. All right, the end of their age the end of Esau's rulership might come through the Roman Empire. All right, that they were going to be in power in these last days, ruling the world, and they were going to have a whore, the little horn that they were going to be manipulating and controlling. And verse 40, and the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past. All right, so it's about the Roman Empire. Esau took over the world after Greece, after Alexander, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. See, they're the wicked. And so long dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. So they still dwelling upon this earth with their deception. Right? That's how they keep in their power. All right. Yep. Because they're what? Through deceit, they still got their power upon the earth. The scriptures say that the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field. The serpent is a dragon, right? Them damn Edomites. So, all right, and that's their fornication. That's their business that you're talking about. And that America's pushing that same agenda, the same philosophies, the same iniquity, even that demonocracy and paganism, and they establish their power in the world through their business deals, man. All right. So, and that cup that America's holding, that's what it's filled up with, all of it, all the blasphemy and everything. So this is Sirach 10 and 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, see, it deals injuries, it killed a lot of people, a lot of murder, and riches gotten by deceit, man. Backdoor deals, shiesty deals. Look at the mob, the mafia, how that was established. See that? Now we're seeing it front and center with the politicians, which is the mob today. The kingdom is translated from one people to another through what? Through their riches gotten by deceit, through their injuries and their unrighteous dealings. So that's how Esau is able to still be ruling on this earth. All right, but the Lord said what? That's what he said about the Roman Empire. That's the focus right now, showing the separation between the Roman Empire, the fourth beast, and the little horn. The little horn is also known as the whore. All right. So, so let's get this. 2nd Ezra 11 and 41. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth, All right, because they're ruling it right now. Those elite bankers from over there in Europe. For thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm, man. In 70 AD, they cast down our walls, they burned down our temple. All right, and especially with the triumvirate. You know, and you had Augustus Caesar. That was really the establishment, the reestablishment and strengthening of the Roman Empire. All right. Therefore, 43. Therefore is thy wrongful dealings come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. See, Esau is the proud. Obadiah. The book of Obadiah speaks about that. The highest also have looked upon the proud times, the times when Esau is ruling, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled, man. All right, so once Esau, the abomination that maketh desolate, once the abominations are fulfilled, that's when the Lord going to judge him. All right, take the kingdom from him. And therefore appear no more, thou eagle, Roman Empire, nor thy horrible wings, all right, nor thy wicked feathers, the whole Congress and or the Caesars, all right, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, man, their military might and power. You have that falling apart today. Look at the Brexit, Daniel chapter 2. Nor all thy vain body, all right? So, you know, and that's what America is, the part of the vain body. That all the earth may be refreshed and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. All right, so now let's read Daniel chapter 7, because it speaks about the transition from the Roman Empire, the fourth beast, into this little horn that was going to be established from these other three horns, which was Britain, Spain, and France. All right, but the war was between the U.S. and Britain. All right. Now, where was I? Okay, verse 8. Let's start from 8. And through, let me get to it. Daniel chapter 7 and 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up. No, let's go to 7. All right, it make more sense. Daniel chapter 7 and 7. After this, I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast. That fourth beast is the Roman Empire. Dreadful and terrible. All right, it would cause fear to come upon that earth. And strong exceedingly. Right, they were known for their military might. And it had great iron teeth. Okay, and it was a time of, it was the Iron Age where they used iron to make all their weapons, you know. And it also represents their harsh rulership, you know, austere rulership they had over the earth. It says, it devoureth and breaketh in pieces, and stampeth the residue with the feet of it. And the residue represents Israel. And they were killing our people. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. See that? Same 10 horns spoken of in Revelation, I think it was 18 or 17. right there. That's the Roman Empire, man. They eat the 10 common markets. And the deadly wound was healed. And then Rome was reestablished again later in 1266 AD. Came out of the pit. And now it popped back up on the scene again with the revived Roman Empire, America, man. Which is spiritually Rome, spiritually Babylon, spiritually Egypt, spiritually Assyria. You know? It says this now, and I considered the 10 horns, right? And I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. All right, this little horn was like the lamb that spake as a dragon. And before whom were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, man. They was all rooted together, but they broke up their alliance. And the Britain's power over France and Spain. All right, and through that, America was able to get its independence. The 13 colonies, the Edomites, to put us in more slavery, just like the Roman Empire. And for it to become a nation, and later on they got different parts like Florida from Spain. They started getting the west coast of America to get involved with the 13 colonies. All right, in which we were still in slavery. So now, but through this, America was able to gain its freedom from Britain. All right, and also America was able to gain power over the sea as well, maritime authority through France, the battles with France. All right, so now verse 8. And I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. That's America, man. That's Babylon. I just read it. You know, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things, man. So they had a president, and also they had a Congress, and all these agencies that were established all through the spirits that leaped out of the mouth of the dragon. The banking system, the bankers, the Roman Catholic Church, the Jesuits. And where you get the Masonry from, if you look at the letter G on the Masonic symbol, it goes back to Jesuits or Jesuits. All right, that's what that really represents, man. And they're the ones that established this place, America. All right, the founding fathers. And you have also the military, NATO, that was established in D.C. I think from 1948 all the way to 1951. 1952 in D.C. 51 to 52. So, yeah, man. So that's how the agencies here got established, man. The Feds, the Federal Reserve, you know, and all the churches out here in this place. They all had to go through the Roman Empire and get their 501c3, get their funding. That's where you get the establishment of the Baptist, Pentecostal, Catholic, whatever else is out there. Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness. All right, so all of that was basically all that power comes from the Roman Empire, and it's pushed through this little horn, Babylon. All right, see, I'm gonna read it again. Revelations 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast, see, another kingdom, entity, came up out of the earth. All right, so it's like saying, this dragon stood up on the sea, on the shore, took his place on the earth. All right, and looked out to the sea and watched these other ones come up out of the water onto the earth, which was what? America and NATO. All right. So another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. Politicians, man, Democrats and Republicans. All right, which was in reflection of the Roman Empire with their Congress and Senates and Caesars. All right, Caesar was later named to change to Kaiser in Germany, and after Kaiser, they took on the term presidents over here in America. All right, and them which dwell therein to worship the beast. So like it, and he exercised all the power. So I'm gonna go to verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So he was an imposter. All right, acting innocent, and that's what, man. Look at this. All right, how's it speaking as a lamb? Because the Lord used America to influence all these other nations and get them prepared for these last days. Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand. See, the Lord controlling the show, and controlling good and evil. All right, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. All right, so the nations were boasting, not just angry, but boasting. They started thinking they were rich, and they took on the dollar as a reserve. And now the more they keep that dollar, the more power America has and these bankers have over their countries and their resources through what you would call sanctions. And the more the dollar loses value, the more they have to pay and buy more dollars to continue and maintain their reserves, or their dollar reserve, U.S. dollar reserves that are in the SDR basket of currencies around the world. All right, so just to maintain it, it's like saying, picture you had money inside of an old warehouse. You would have to pay to maintain that money, keep it there, and pay for the warehouse to be cleaned and the upkeep, keep mice from eating at the paper, keep security in place from people breaking and stealing it. All right, so that costs money. So as a dollar, but I think it was 1913. They established the Federal Reserve, and everybody had the Bretton Woods Agreement also. All right, what's it called? The Bretton Woods Agreement. Everybody agreed to go with the Federal Reserve, go with the dollar. All right, the Bretton Woods Agreement. So that all these nations agreed to use the dollar as its trading currency, to trade in dollars. And then 1971, Nixon pulled the gold away from the dollar, so they lost any money they bought in dollars. We traded gold for dollars. I think it was like 30 ounces, troy ounces for like $1. All right, 30 ounces of bullion for $1 certificate, and it would say gold certificate, gold tender. So they removed that from the dollar and said legal tender, meaning it's just contractual or operating off de facto. It's not real. And he just stole all the nation's money. So now all the nations were forced to not only use the dollar just like a hole in the bag, they were also forced to buy oil in dollars in dollars, and they need oil from the producing oil petroleum exporting countries, the OPEC deal over there with Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, Iran. So now all these nations like Russia, China, they all lost out. All right, so they were basically at the whelm and at the feet of America, man, and the banking elites that run this place, that established it, as I've proven already. The spirits that leaped out of the mouth of the dragon like a frog. They used that to manipulate the puppet. They're the strings. Those are the strings that are tied to this place. All right, and they use that to control the world with, man. It's called a corporation, United States of America, with a president as the manager. And we all know any corporation, you can't point at one single person to blame. Thus you have people like Bill Gates buying up the world right now. And you can't point at him because it's his companies. And then behind that he has another company, then another company. Thus you have America, NATO, and then the dragon. All right. So people will never see that it's Europe that's controlling all this. They're going to blame Biden. All right, so the shadow government, where do you think they come from? All right, that's the dragon. So it's two separate things, man. The Roman Empire and the daughter of Babylon, the little horn, the mystery Babylon. That's America. Okay. So let me get this. Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as the dragon. And he exercised of all the power of the first beast, the dragon, the Roman Empire, the fourth beast, before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Who did that? The Roman Empire didn't do that. Great Britain didn't do that. They became a financier by World War II. They played a heavy part in World War I. So who was that? That's talking about who? After Revelation chapter 9, when it says Kaiser Wilhelm in World War I, then you got the establishment of World War II. Second War was past, the third world coming quickly. You know? Now, who is that talking about? That caused fire to come down. That's talking about America, man. That was riding upon the scarlet colored beast, NATO. And they dropped Fat Boy, Little Man? Them two atomic missiles which entered the world into the nuclear age, according to prophecy. So the Lord used America to do that and caused fire to come down in the sight of the dragon. That means the theater of Europe. When they go to war, they call it a theater. What area of the earth are they fighting in? So he caused that fire to come down, which established America as a powerhouse on the earth. And after World War II, they called it Babylon, America, they called it the peacekeeper of the earth, the hammer of the earth. The hammer shit, everything is a nail, so you gotta get a hammer. They call every problem a nail, and they use America as the hammer. Alright? And look who all the nations are pointing their finger at. They're not pointing their finger at the Roman Empire right now. Everybody got beef with this place, America. And the Lord is laying upon this place the line of confusion. He's showing you, like, this is it right here. I'm going to circle it for you. This is the line of confusion. Babylon, that's what it means. Babel. Look at their presidency. Look at their government. Look at the jobs in this place and the culture and the religion. The sodomy and all that shit, man. You know, all the different beliefs in this place, man. And look at the deals and the treaties that this place has broken with these other nations. So this is it. This is the place, man. This is the daughter of Babylon, the mystery Babylon. All right, so he doeth great wonders so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That's when he bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All right. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. So he scared the shit out of all these nations. And he had power to do it by the orders of NATO and the EU, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image, a system to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live, man. So talking about the Roman Empire, man. So it was wounded and it was healed through this place, America. All right. So yeah, you know the rest. America had power to give life unto the image of the beast, man. So let me keep going. All right, Revelation 12:1. I'm gonna start from I'll start from 1, yeah. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Talking about Jerusalem, Israel. All right. The 12 stars, 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 patriarchs, or the elect. And you have under her feet the moon and the sun represent knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that was given her to reign upon as her foundation. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered, just like in Egypt. But this was during the Roman Empire. All right, they were kicking our ass, man. With the what you would call the triumvirate, you know, and the Herodian Empire, and the Caesars. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon. So it's the same red dragon. It's gonna prove it right here, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Same one spoken of in Daniel 7 and also Revelation 17. And 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. All right. Basically Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Okay. And did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. You can't get away from this. This is talking about Herod the Great and wickedness. All right, the Herodian dynasty. And with the child that they was trying to devour, see that? Devour. The devil would go about seeking who he may devour. And they wanted to devour Yahushua as soon as he was born. And we know that story of the birth of Yahushua, how Herod the Great was jealous of him, and Herod wanted to be king. And Herod knew he was an Edomite himself. And he wanted to be king, so he said, who is this king of the Jews? Yahushua is, man, always. So now, all right, so this is talking about the Roman Empire, clearly, and showing that it is the dragon, okay? All right, Revelations 12:13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, that's when the deadly wound was healed, or was wounded, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. See, they set up a system to destroy us and destroy, a system against righteousness, man. And also you call racism and paganism. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, all right, all around the 4 corners of the earth, into her place. The place represents America, the little horn, where she is nourished for a time and half a time from the face of the serpent. So we're being nourished through the scriptures. All right. Now, into her place, hiding from the face of the Roman Empire. So that shows you that we're not going to be fully in the presence of the Roman Empire. We're going to be scattered around the four corners of the earth. And that's why they set up the system against us. All right, to try to trap us wherever we're at and weed us out from amongst the people. All right, so that's why they put pressure on everybody and taking that control through their wickedness. And they know their elect are going to shine. And through that, they want to what? Try to crop off the top of the young twigs again. But it ain't going to happen this time. All right, so what it says, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as it were flood after the woman. So, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get to this point. All right, so this is where they go off at, man. They don't understand. They're just trying to make some blanket statement and some seeking vain glory. The Lord said you're not supposed to seek vain glory. All right, Revelation 17:1, and there came one of the seven angels which had 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore, which sitteth upon many waters. All right, and the waters are people. So they ruled over the earth. And under de facto, under the power that was given to it from the EU and NATO, really from the Most High, as I read earlier. Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand. And through it, he made all the world and nations drunken. And through that, they are mad. They're confused as hell what the hell going on. And they were boasting that they were rich because of this place. Just like it speaks about in the Apocrypha about Moab. They joined unto America and rode the back of America until, like a tick, until they got stronger. Stronger than this place. Let the weak say I'm strong. Revelation 17 and 2. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. And alright, so it pushed all the agenda of the pagans over there in the Roman Empire or Europe. All right, and their witchcraft policies and deals and treaties. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. All right, so it's like America's that hand puppet. And the elite bankers over there in Europe, they the ones that got their hand up the puppet's ass, controlling his fucking mouth. Controlling this place, America, and everything all the movements it makes. And these nations believed it, and they fell for the magic trick. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. So it's a spiritual. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Scarlet represents what? The blood red, all right? Another form of red. All right, some say it's blue, but it's like a deep bluish red, just like blood. Now it says, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns, right? So that Edomite kingdom or entity, NATO, America was the spearhead and the voice of NATO in the 1950s, the 40s and 50s. So he carried me away, and still is. I did a lesson on it, Revelation 13, that for America, the president of NATO has to be an American general, riding upon the scarlet-colored beast. That's the head of the beast. And the woman was arrayed, all right, was arrayed in purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of a fornication. Is that not America, man? Decked with all kind of riches and dainties, and given the power to push these deceit, same one that was given to the Roman Empire, and iniquity. Is that not this place, America? And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery. Yes, this place is a mystery, meaning a symbol of Babylon. It's a symbol, it's symbolic of Babylon. That's what it means, as to be a mystery. All right. Babylon the Great. So it's basically symbolically Babylon the Great. So it's not the actual Babylon, because this was John the Revelator speaking after 70 AD on the Isle of Patmos. In ancient Babylon, their kingdom got destroyed around 540 BC. And the Lord said this Babylon is not going to be inhabited. Once it gets destroyed, it's going to get destroyed with fire from east to west, north to south. With the besom of destruction, it's going to turn into a lava pit. That didn't happen in ancient Babylon. It's got its walls burned down with arrows. This one says America's going to be hit with giant arrows from across the other side of the earth. It's going to shake the earth. That didn't happen in the Roman in 540 BC. And there's still people over there. You still had fucking Saddam Hussein got his ass hung over there. What's today called Iraq. All right. Yeah, man. So this is what Babylon the Great, man. This was symbolically, it's Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. So through this, what comes out of a mother? Children. So it birthed nothing but adulterous nations, man. Adulterers, and, idolatry. Mother of iniquity. And abominations of the earth, man. So they're the mother of it. So through America, they birthed all their abominations. Shit like the MOTB. And all their draconian policies. The atom bomb, the ICBM missiles. All right, the NATO military. Demonocracy they pushing. The New World Order. So it's the mother of harlots, man, and the abominations of the earth. Some say this means 666, but hey, and now. And it says, I saw the woman drunken with the blood of saints and with the blood of martyrs of Yahushua. So he was seeing this in his mind and his spirit. They were already, 70 AD already happened. So he was saying that he saw this in his mind, something happening in the future. That those same people that were killed in 70 AD that believed in Yahushua, they were going to be on this earth and go into slavery. Right here in Babylon and around the world. All right, but the bulk of the deliverance is going to be here in Babylon. All right, because if you read Revelation 19, it's showing you that this is going to be in the last days, in the end, when Yahushua returns, Babylon is going to be destroyed. So it's not talking about the Roman Empire. It's talking about this place that was set up according to Zechariah, I think chapter 5. It was set up for judgment, the melting pot. All right, Revelation 19:1. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power unto Yahweh our power. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore. So this is talking about in the end. In Daniel chapter 7, it says the little horn, and then it said the Ancient of Days is going to sit upon the seat of judgment. All right, in Revelations 11, let me get that. So the Lord is going to judge the great whore in the last days, man, when Yahushua returns. So it's not talking about no damn Roman Empire. According to Revelation 18, the land is going to be surrounded by water. Now look at America. Look at the East Coast. Look at the West Coast. Look in the South. Surrounded by water. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and have avenged the blood of his servants at her hand, So, alright, so it's showing that there's going to be a separate entity created outside of the fourth beast. That was going to be the little horn. And this was the whore that was going to be controlled like a little puppet, The hidden hand. Revelations 18:1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power. And the earth was lightened with his glory. That's about to happen. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and become the habitation of devils. And this is a future prophecy, man, spoken of in Revelations. And the hold of every foul creature, spirit, and the cage of every unclean bird and a hateful bird. All right, all these the unclean animals spoken of in Leviticus. They're the only thing that's going to be left here, like little lizards and swamp animals and swamp birds that can handle a lot of heat and, swamp type elements. For all nations, and that could perch in certain areas for long periods of time. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of fornication. All right. So they've drunken of that wine, those iniquity and philosophies, and also their business. All right, and paganism, and it all comes from Europe through the whore, America. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and their idolatry as well, right? Their business, and also their business deals. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So all the merchants of the earth, and especially these proxy nations, they got rich off of this place, especially in the 1920s and all the way up until the 1960s. Right, the place was booming. And when the Rockefellers, the robber barons, was buying up the market and controlling all the lumber and, and all the resources were pouring in. That's around the time I was born, 1980s and going to the 90s, man. They was treating this place like a metropolis. You've seen all the people on TV, BET, Black Entertainment, and Grammys, and Hip Hop Awards. Just thank God everything was like glorified. And church gospel singers and like, yo, what the hell? And we in hell and shit, literally. So this place was propped up through its dainties and riches and wealth, and everybody getting the bling bling, and spree wells and Rolexes, all the fake forms of riches, man, deteriorating their the value of all their items, the car, the gold. Once they put all that bullshit on there, they take away from it. The value of it. So, yeah, man. In the schools, they were pushing that. In the military, everybody was on it. In these jobs, yep. Everybody thought this was it. They had it made. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, is fallen. So, verse 13. For all the nations are drunk with the wine of her fornication, so they're going to receive part of that judgment. And the kings of the earth and they got rich off of slavery. All right, have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins," man. So this is spiritual. All right. See, in the Roman Empire, the Lord told us where to run to. He said, "Flee to the Judean hills, go this way, don't go that way." Like the Sakari did. They went the opposite way. But this is true. But the ones that listened, they ran towards the Judean mountains. All right, and they were later scattered till the time of the peace treaty again. I think around 75 AD. All right, 74. So it says for her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh hath remembered her iniquities, man. So the Lord is remembering this vain place, the daughter of Babylon, that is yet to be destroyed. Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled to her double. What cup is that? Slavery. We went in slavery over here, man. In the Roman Empire, it was slaves, but it was more based on religious in the nation. You know, like, are you a Christian? You know, that's what they call it, in derogatory term. But it really supposed to mean followers of Yahushua. Are you those Jews? The Roman Empire were against the Jews. They were against Israelites because of their beliefs. So that's why they set up a system against our beliefs, man. And later changed to racism, according to color. And they used that too, as well, in 1488. So, now, where was that? So, all that's going to be filled to this place too, double the destruction. You think all the slavery that happened here, the rape, robbery, and murder, everything that happened to the Gadites and the so-called Negroes and Latinos, everybody that's here. Man, listen, so the Lord said double unto this place. What's that? The Lord going to use fire. How much she have glorified herself. See, she got rich through that. And that goes to Revelation chapter 6. All right. And lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. I can go on. There's so many scriptures I can get because America is sitting as a whore, the queen. All right. That's what the word queen means, whore. And I am no widow and shall see no sorrow, man. But they're going to lose their husband. They're going to lose the dragon. All right, their pimp. And shall see no sorrow. But they're going to see a lot of sorrow. Therefore shall her plague come in one day. So the Lord set it up like that. It's not going to be a long, drawn-out process once it really kicks off. It's going to be one day, this place is going to be destroyed. Death and mourning and famine. And she shall be utterly burned with fire. See? It's not talking about ancient Babylon. It's talking about this Babylon today. It's going to be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua was judge of her. All right, so and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. They're going to see it from their satellites. They're going to still have the cameras to be able to see what's going on over here. And the ships at sea going to be able to see what's going on over here. Because they may not have no satellites up there no more once the chariots show up. But they're going to be able to see the destruction of this place when the Lord judges it. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and destruction, right? And when they see the smoke of her burning, they're gonna be like, oh man. So they're gonna see the burning and the smoke of it, like right when it's happening. But the scriptures say the smoke gonna go up forever, for a long period of time. Standing afar off for fear of her torment, so they're gonna stand away from this place, man. But they're gonna be watching. Alas, that great city Babylon. Alright, so it's talking about the last days and these times today, man. When Yahushua is going to return. That great city, Babylon. Alright, as I've proven, it's not talking about the Roman Empire, the dragon. Babylon got its power from the dragon. Alright, the little horn. The little horn got its power from the 10 horns. Alright. It says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, that great city, Babylon, the golden city, right? That mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. You know? So they're going to stand afar off, man. And the merchants talking about the ships. Let me read this, 15. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, man. So they were selling all those items to America. That's why America has such a high debt ratio and not a large GDP. They're not selling anything. So America imports all this stuff now. That's why they're going broke. All right? That's why everything says made in China. Okay, and saying, what was that? For the merchants of these things which were made rich by her, so they sell those things, right? Shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. So they ain't gonna be able to get rich off this place no more. And saying, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. All right. For in 1 hour, so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the companies of ships and sailors, and as many as trade by the sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning. So that didn't happen in ancient Babylon or in the Roman Empire. Saying, what city is like unto this great city? All right, this little horn was a great city. All right, and he was seeing this. He was seeing America. He was seeing the Statue of Liberty and all that. He's like, what the hell? He's seeing the planes. Imagine that back then. He on the Isle of Patmos, being tormented, and in the Roman Empire, he's seeing this in his mind, in his vision. All right, people riding around in these cars and drones now. He was seeing all of this. So the Lord said, what? Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye apostles, ye holy apostles and prophets. For Yahweh hath avenged you on her, right? Because those people are going to be here, the apostles and prophets. This place that was drunken with the blood of the martyrs, that are still here, that are back on this earth today through reincarnation. All right. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea. That represents the people, saying, thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down and shall be found no more at all. But if you look over there on the map, or if you look in the news, Iraq is still thriving. They still got they turned the ancient Babylon into a museum and shit. People get paid to go over there and look at it. You know, you got military setting up bases over there, all kind of shit. You know. But the Lord said this one was going to not exist at all, ever again. So yeah, man, them dudes is going way off. So with that, I'm going to say, shalom. Hope you're edified.